Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would show you a new tank build that I started, and I kind of got the hull mostly complete at this point in time. Now, these are a bunch of older tanks that I've got kind of in the same class of like an assault tank or a heavy tank, or well, in one case, kind of almost an extreme tank. Um, and my ways of going about HV tanks have changed a fair amount over time. Some of the earlier ones, I really had no idea exactly what I was doing. All I know is I wanted to try to get the max turret count on something, and to get around through trees and stuff like that. The only way you could do it back in the day was to use the harvesters on the front of it to chop the trees down. So that's kind of what all these earlier ones are doing, because the trees would not knock down; they were like a wall. So if you were attacking a POI in a forest of any origin, if you couldn't chop the trees down, that was kind of a problem. It made it even harder to take on a POI with a tank. So used excessive amounts of these cheese graters and things like that. Well, a lot has changed in the game since these tanks were built, and now the trees do fall when you hit them with a HV, moving fast enough at least. And I changed my way of doing things. And also on some of the earlier tanks, the Anubis wasn't so bad, but some of the other ones like the Gigantus and the Demos, not all the turrets could fire forward. So I modified the design, and I kind of went to the Gen 3 tanks over here. But there's a Gen 1 beyond this, and it was the Basilisk, which is kind of a larger, weird tank that I don't actually have in my blueprints right now. I'll have to sub my own blueprint, I guess. Um, so then I switched the design up, and I went with this type of setup over here, which is kind of basically got tiered turret positions so they could all fire forward pretty much. And I did that with the MCRN Ballista, and then also the Scar Reaper. And these were kind of similar design setups and the way they were built. The Reaper's a little bit bigger version of what the Ballista is, but they're similar capabilities for the most part. And they also still have some cheese graters on them to cut the trees down. Now, these are both vanilla tanks. And then I went to the Gen 4 tanks, and I've got two of those, and got the MCRN Scorpion, and then this Psycho Quantum Auxiliary Sucking Crazy Phalanx Seeds tank, which is basically the most amount of weaponry I put on, I think, any HV or, well, SV, practically CV. um, so yeah, this one's Psycho. Really expensive tank though, really expensive, especially if you get it operational with all the cores and stuff it needs. It's expensive. None of these tanks accommodated for the newer shield parts because they're all built before shield parts existed in Reforged Eden. Um, but out of all the tanks that I've got in my tank arsenal, and this isn't all of them, I got some medium tanks and other things out there too. But this one I think is the best performing. I was just taking a look at the specs on it right now, CPU wise, and it's doing all right. It's just its big problem is it really can't accommodate the shield parts and things like that. It's just not big enough. It doesn't have enough room. But as of all the tanks, one thing when I was building all these tanks, and obviously these are Empyrion tanks. They were designed to work in Empyrion one way or another with whatever I was going by at the time. But I always wanted to build a tank that actually kind of looks like a tank, and I haven't really done it yet. So this challenge came up, and it was build a HV tank, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it. For better or worse, I want to try to build a tank that actually looks like a tank this time, and see how it comes out. And also, I kind of one annoying aspect, although these tanks work. One thing that I didn't like about them, when you're since you're entirely turret based, when you're shooting at a POI or something like that, and say there's a turret like in front of you that you want to be shooting at, well, all your turrets are going to shoot at whatever target they're selecting, and they may not shoot at the target you're intending for them to shoot at, which kind of gets annoying. I remember being in game before, and there's like a couple turrets like right in front of me, and I was like, I want to shoot those, and my guns are shooting everywhere else but the turrets in front of me, and it was kind of annoying me. So with the next build, I wanted to try a couple things. I wanted to put it more of a focus on fixed weapons, so you can actually manually fire at what you want to shoot at. And then I also wanted it to look like a tank. So anyway, I'll shut up about all those. And here is the here's the new one so far. And obviously, it's a completely different design than a lot of those other tanks over there. It is definitely trying to look like a tank. And I started this build out by building the turret first, and then I started building the hull underneath the turret, or this turret assembly. I won't say this is a turret, but it's, you know, a bunch of blocks trying to make it look like a turret, at least. I wish it could swivel. That would be so cool. And actually, I mean, if you look at how it's designed over here, it actually looks like that could turn properly and things like that, which would be a totally new experience for tank combat in the game. Imagine if you could turn your top turret independently from the bottom of your tank. That would change things quite a bit, so you could do some different kinds of maneuvers. But anyway, this is where I'm at right now with this tank. It has less turrets, and they're not all kind of lined up like a pincushion like the previous tanks. But instead, it's focusing its firepower on 2 of these tank cannons, which is the maximum allowed. They're quite expensive CPU-wise, according to the description on them. They can shoot quite a long ways, and they're pretty powerful. But in conjunction with that, it's got a whole bunch of these laser cannons on here to take down shields. So basically, you come up to your target, you hit it with these a lot until the shield goes down, and then you start manually shooting at the things you want to shoot at, like, you know, the turrets, or if you happen to know where the core position is, maybe just blast right through a wall and take the whole base out at once. Different options depending on the POI and things like that. And then all these turrets that are around here are mainly just to shoot all the other clutter that's usually around a POI, all the ground guys and the little mech walkers and the drones and all that other fun stuff. Of course, you could set these up any way you want, but there's only 4 of them that really have, well, 5, I guess, that really have a good front firing position on them. So I went, and you know, a lot of these are kind of like decoys, like, okay, yeah, maybe the AI will shoot at these guys up here. That's kind of the intent. I was trying to keep some of these things a little further back. And then on the back of the tank, too, it does have a long-range radar kind of sticking on the back side of the turret. I try to even make the back of the turret look kind of neat. I got some blocked stuff going on here, and there's actually a Wi-Fi over here behind that little plate. I thought that looked kind of neat. And then it's got some like old World War II like side turrets, like I don't know, or not even like World War I, I think, actually. Some of those weird German tanks, those big ones that have these like side little guns to shoot like ground troops and stuff out to the side. So that's kind of what this one's about. It's absolutely trying to look like a tank. Now, where it's at right now, it does not have a shield in it. It's got 4 advanced generators, and it may not need that many. But CPU is coming out to this right now, so it's already over the 51,000 lease stock. But keep in mind, I'd probably reduce some of the weaponry on it and leave some placeholders, like maybe it wouldn't have some of these laser cannons stock. But I'll have to balance the CPU. Another goal on this one is to allow it, I would like to give it positions to fit at least 12 shield parts for HVs. Now, you can put in 8 of each type. 12 to me seems like you'd put in like 8 banks and 4 chargers, and I think that would be a respectable setup. And I don't know how much CPUs that's going to take. Of course, it's going to have to allow for quantum and auxiliary cores and things like that in the mix as well, and a decent amount of ammo storage. So I'm not sure exactly how much ammo it's going to have. But I thought I would try it. Now, the biggest complication with this particular tank, and something I'm not liking right now, is my reverse thrusters. I decided to put in the smaller ones here, the best I could for the smaller ones, but and they're up front, and I don't like to put the reverse thrusters there. But literally, I've got no place else on this tank to put them. I didn't want to put them in the center area because I didn't really want the AI to be focused firing in this area. I'd rather have them fire off to the sides, I guess, and I kind of wanted to use the larger thrusters. Like, it's got pretty good strafing thrust on here, having these 2 bigger ones here, and then the forward thrust is also decent. It's got 2 of those plus 2 of the small ones. It's just the reverse thrusters kind of aren't great right now. and I don't really know what I can do about that. Uh, I'd have to try to find another place to put a reverse thruster, and it's trying to keep this looking like a tank and trying to keep the thrusters so they're not sticking out at you is another a little bit harder aspect too, because it would be my first thought was I was going to put like some extension out over here and have like reverse thrusters like going down the sides over here, and I had to make the tank wider. But then it started to not look like a tank again. It started to look like some Empyrion creation instead, and I didn't really. I really just wanted it, this build at least, to look like a tank, because obviously a lot of these aren't really looking like tanks. They're pin cushions with a lot of turrets. So yeah, this is one of those things where I'm trying to make something a little bit more artful, but also trying to make it function. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know how good this tank's going to be. I really don't. I can reinforce the front of it. I can give it a lot of shield. I think it may work. I would like to, I'm gonna have to test these, the weaponry on it and things like that to see how this actually plays out. And then on hull material right now, it's just steel, and it needs to be. I'll probably replace a lot of the blocks in the front area. I'll have to figure out where to put heavier, stronger blocks or more reinforcing. The thought of using heavy glass also is, I'm kind of keeping that in mind. But I'll have to try to make it safe. When you pilot the tank, it's not going to have any first-person view like any regular tank out there either. They just don't have like a big glass window somewhere on the front of them. So you'll be kind of sitting back, kind of in this back area of the tank, and this front area is going to be a lot more armor and stuff like that going on. And there's some extra room around here too, but I'll have to figure out all the block work and how the insides on this are going to work and things like that, and exactly what parts it's going to have. Right now I have 6 of the larger hover engines, and they're kind of like sitting up one block from the ground. I do have landing gear on here too, but the way I'm going to try to do this is so this thing rests just like it is when it's docked. So it's actually docked to the platform right now. Excuse me. Oh, looks like I only got landing gear on part of the tank. They're going to move around and everything, so it's not going to be quite like that. So basically, to keep the tank lower profile, it's not real big either. I mean, so it'll fit in the 5x9 hangar doors just fine. And that's usually the standard I'm going to go for, unless it's a really large item. As in current maneuverability, it gets around pretty good. Now this particular planet, I was looking at, and this is one of these really nasty planets for HVs. Here, let me get the HUD back on here. And I was just kind of curious on how this thing was actually going to get around on the countryside with all the trees and stuff. And kind of as expected, you can barrel your way through these forests, and you will knock down some trees, but it's slow going, and you're going to get caught up here and there, and you're going to get bopped around quite a bit. Sometimes when you hit a certain something, it just spins your tank around. This isn't doing too bad. One thing I would hate with any of these HVs, and it doesn't really matter which one, I would really hate to fight a POI that was in a forest. It would just I'm practically tipping over when I hit like a little rock or a little something going on the ground. It's going to be kind of hard to see, and like even barreling through these trees like that, I'm making it to my to the direction I want to go, but it's slow moving, and I can see why most people would usually be attacking POIs with SVs or even CVs, especially on a planet like this one. If it was a big open desert planet with not a lot to run into like this, it probably wouldn't be so bad, but it is absolutely annoying getting around a planet like this with an HV, where SVs just tend to work out a whole lot better. But yeah, currently it's getting around good, but the problem is it's only going to slow down from where it is. Now, if I could have the whole tank finished and armored and it would move like it is right now, I'd be very happy with it. I think it would be a nice, good maneuvering tank. Problem is, it's going to get heavier. I'll try to play with the numbers and try to keep it as light as I can in places, but it's going to be a little rough on this. I would like to add in more thrusters, but I really don't have any locations I can add thrusters to it right now. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. Well, let's see. So we're just kind of floating out here in the water right now. But yeah, I just wanted to show you where I'm at with this, and sorry about not having a video out. I was kind of discouraged. I had a lot of problems when I was trying to do a video. To start with, I built this on this planet on the ground to start with, and I built the pedestal on the bottom of it, and everything was fine. I was working on it for about 5-10 minutes, and then it started vibrating profusely, where I couldn't work on it anymore. So I saved it, and then I was like, well, and then I tried to spawn it again, and then it started screwing up where I couldn't work on it again. Then I took it out into space, and space at this particular planet has really, really bad lighting. And then I was just like, okay, I had enough, and I just ended the video. And I didn't like what I had, and I was going to abandon this project. And then I got back to it last night, and I looked at it when I wasn't all annoyed and everything, and started just reworking all the things I didn't like about it, and then I got it to this stage, and I'm pretty happy with it now. So I'll keep on continuing with this one. This will probably be my entry for the challenge, named Challenge Tank 1. I just wanted to show you where I'm at. If you got any suggestions too, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you have a more experience in game than I do. I'm pretty positive. Like these tank cannons, are they pretty effective? I mean, I wanted to use them on this because, well, they're a new part to start with, to me at least, and I wanted some fixed weapons on here. I just thought I'd mix it up. I didn't want to do another pincushion tank, although that was my first thought, and I have no idea what's going on with the water here. That is some bizarre looking water, I gotta say. I guess it is an alien planet, but I guess there's waves there. I was just freaking me out a little bit there. Anyway, that's where I'm at, and I just wanted to show you where I'm at, so you know I'm still here. Sorry for no videos for the last couple days again. I may have an update video tomorrow on this one. Hopefully later today I can get into getting a lot more done on it, and maybe even try to paint it. I was trying to figure out which race I want to put this to. I don't think it would be appropriate with Scar. As an MCRN, I haven't been doing much with MCRN due to the fact that they're kind of borrowed from a TV show. This could end up being a human tank. I don't know if I want to do another Imperial creation, but the Imperial faction actually does not have any HVs, so they could really use it as well. The humans could use a new tank as well. So I don't know. I'll have to figure out what faction I want to do this for of the existing ones. It could be at least Imperial or human are kind of what I'm thinking about. I'm just not sure. I just did a couple Imperial creations. I don't know if I want to do another one right away again. Get a little tired of texturing that same style, but it works out. Anyway, you all have yourself a great day, and let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you later.